folks, and welcome to Interview That Dead Person and Your Daughter for Science Class. Now that's a tongue twister, right, John? Thank you, John. Now, folks, we're going to start off the interview by talking about some special guests. Please give a warm Brentwood School welcome to Madame Curie.
Great.
Hello, Madame Curie. How was your day? I mean, you've been living in the ground for so long. It's probably nice to smell the fresh roses. Must say, me being a lady of science, I do not find your comment humorous. I mean, it has no real meaning. Okay. Enough with the jokes. I mean, I have all the time in the world to tell jokes. So my first question to you is, what influenced your thirst for science? Wow, that brings back a lot of memories. But I must say that my thirst for science began when I was really little. I remember going to my father's study and seeing an apparatus and just wondering what it did. I always asking questions to myself. I also remember I had a hunger for reading. I always wanted to read with some way, shape, or form, probably contributed to my thirst for science. Also, because I was oppressed as a child, I always felt I had something to prove to my oppressors. Thank you for responding in such an open manner, and may I say, you don't look a day over 100. Now, my next question is, why did you study so hard in France to earn your degrees? Well, I was not raised with all the privileges you probably have. I had to earn all the money I made to go to France from being a governess and other hard occupations. So for me to go to school like the one in France was literally a dream come true. I felt that I needed to study hard for my family and for myself, because after all, I needed some kind of degree to discover radium. Okay. Which leads me to my next question. Why do you need 2 degrees? That's a wonderful question, Tyler. Thank you, Madame. You're welcome, Tyler. Again, Madame, but how about that question? Oh yes, the question you asked. I almost forgot about it. Well, I needed 2 degrees because 1 was certainly not enough. I had a hunger to learn new things and felt a degree in mathematics alongside physics would help me to obtain the goals I set for myself. Another nice answer to my question. Now, what do you think of Pierre Curie the first time you met him? Oh, I thought he was gorgeous. I mean, all the girls in the room, me being one of them, of course, it was like getting to talk to, I don't know, who's your friendly, Justin Bieber, that's you. Yes, I know, I live in a grave, but I still hear the girls screaming. Now, no one's focusing on science anymore, but that's besides the point. But in all seriousness, this man had a love for nature and science. He was well educated, good looking, and he treated me like a goddess. I could not have asked for a man to marry better than he was. Well, isn't that just beautiful? I mean, you and Pierre were the perfect match for each other. You were both had love and admiration for science. You both were kind-hearted people. Well, thank you, Tyler. Now another question for you. What was going through your mind when you discovered radium? I mean, you'd been living in the shack, which was barely able to stay together. The conditions were terrible. You'd been working day and night for a number of years, and then it happens. It all pays off. I mean, you discover, or should I say prove to everyone, that radium was a new element. It tells me in your book, Madame Curie, that my wonderful science teacher made me win. Well, as you stated before, Tyler, I had been living in a shack with no heater. It was not fully resistant to rain. But, in all seriousness, I finally told all those people that said I could not do it, that Madame Curie is not just a woman. She is a scientist. I held the radium in my hand, and had never felt such accomplishment. Lastly, what did you feel when you won your second Nobel Prize? You already had won one Nobel Prize, and then you win two. Not only has a woman never won a Nobel Prize, but you won two. Well, winning the first Nobel Prize kind of started off the whole thing. I mean, once I won the prize, I was getting press coverage. I was formerly known, which was known in my book as the enemy. I finally proved my worth to my fellow scientists. Then Pierre dies, and I just start to think of Madame Curie's old news. But what she could do without the help of her husband. Then I won the second Nobel Prize, and everyone believed in Madame Curie again. But I really didn't ever work for the fame, but I worked for Pierre. Wow, that was just so emotional. I mean, I can't contain it. So let me step off stage while our second guest comes on. Please welcome Eve Curie. Well, we are so happy to have you two here, but we only have a few minutes, so let's cut to the cheese. I said cheese, not chase. Well, you guys are a rock hard audience. John's a rock, I said a rock.
Oh, you're so funny.
Okay, guys, enough of me. Let's get serious. Eve, what were you thinking when your mother went marching into a war using her weapons known as X-rays? Well, I was worried for my mother, as all daughters would be. I found it hard to understand what she was doing, but never disagreed with her actions. I knew that what she was doing had mine and the community's best interests at heart. My mother was a saint to all. She marched into a war instead of running away as everyone else did. She had the guts to ask people to donate their Rolls Royce to her cause so she can make an X-ray car, now known as an ambulance. My mom also equipped X-rays to rooms and trained people how to use them, so she was no longer needed. That was just so honest, I couldn't stop crying. Now for my final question of the night, that I know is on everybody's mind, and will ensure that I get a good grade for me in this project. Just a side note, Miss Hakamimi, you look wonderful tonight, whatever you're wearing. Why did you write Madame Curie? Well, that is a real stumper, Tyler. Why did I write Madame Curie? I wrote it for many reasons. First, I thought the people of the world needed to know the inspirational story of my mother. Her journey from child to adult. My mother is an inspiration to one and all. I also felt that the world needed to know how selfless my mother was. The ending of the book, of the last page, was one word and one word alone: radioactivity. Nothing more and nothing less. My mother always gave to society, and never took. Madame Curie was a great mother, amazing wife, but most importantly, a wonderful person. Hello and welcome to Who is this dog and why is he on Madame Curie's seat?
I can't see
I
it.
think he's dead.
That's funny.